Alright, so this is what we decided for the trim, us and the homeowners. I'm going to zoom in a little bit now. It's a little different than the way the architect drew it up, but the way that the architect drew it up was actually very, very simple and just standard, and we're trying to get a nice custom look. It's about all these pieces have been ripped and angled just right. That's one window down and a bunch more to go, but that's what we're going to end up going with. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to RCH Builders. So it's been a little while since we've been able to do some recording out here. We've also been real busy with multiple other jobs, along with trying to do some with our job down there at that investment home. So trying to bring you all up to speed. I think the last thing that we've gotten recording of was us doing a section of the interior wall. So we wanted to show you a little bit of other stuff we've done. The homeowner has had their painter come out and do some painting. We did put up all this hardy board siding. We've got some of the old and some of the new. It's kind of mixed all in together. You can't tell now that it's painted. The old that we took off was in pretty good shape. So the reason we stopped here and do not have this is because we have to stair step it up across. We're still waiting on this door, which I was given from the person who I purchased them from, the company that I purchased them from. They said that they were going to have the doors for me in 2 to 3 weeks. I purchased them back in the middle of September. And then when I called them about 3 weeks ago, they were telling me that they would not show up until the end of November. So I've had to back up, punt, try to find somewhere else, some other way to deal with that issue. And what I've come up with is I'm going to have to build the doors myself, buy all the parts separately, and we're going to have to build them because I can't wait that long for the customer. So what we've got here is this right here is a gas line that we've put in for, he wants to be able to set himself up a grill right here in this area and pipe it into the gas. We got steps. We had to build this ramp here. It's a pretty simple ramp, really. I'm going to reuse this wood probably down at my house, that other house of the investment, or on another job, that large addition we got coming up. But we had to build this ramp so that they could get in to do the floors. The guy that he hired to do the floors, he actually did the floors at his main building. Got to clean up a little bit around here. Looks like they've left a few things on the ground, but I got my brick guy do these steps. You'll be able to see them pretty well. You saw the ones on the other side. They're the same ones. And we also, where this concrete had been stopped, we cut it off right across here. And then we curved it back to there so that it'll make a nice little area for the flower bed, and curves back to a point of where it started. Another thing that I've noticed is their painter did not paint the brick on the new addition we did. I don't know if that was because the homeowner didn't want them to, or they just didn't do it, because they painted all the existing brick. It doesn't really matter to me, I guess. It's just what they want. But we got the drain from the HVAC line that we gotta, now that all the siding is up and everything, we gotta take that 90, move it back to the corner. We're gonna bring it down and then aim it this direction towards this drain where everything slopes into it to catch what little bit of rainwater comes off. We still have to do this door as well, same issue. That's the reason why none of the siding is done on this wall. Another thing that we have done, you may have seen it in another video, but I never really didn't mention it, is this eave where we were going to come across, they decided that they wanted to bring it from there straight across. So that is a really large eave. We had to remodify where that cricket came down, and it's just, that's a large area, which would work pretty good. You've got this, that's a light slope, just enough to let it drain, but you could easily set yourself up a little table and chairs or something right there, and have an awning over the top of you. Should work pretty good for that. But going inside, again, the homeowners have already had their painter come in. They're gonna have to come back. Also, this was the floor guy. Just ground down the concrete and then did a concrete stain, and I think it's an acrylic that he put on top of the concrete to protect it. So he did all of this in here. The homeowners had their painters paint the walls. We still need to put in the double doors going through where that window is existing right now. It's another thing that we got to do, and we got to put in the kitchen cabinets. We actually had them all in. Had them all in at one point, and then they said that they needed to come out so that the guy could do the floor. So we're gonna have to redo that. And then just a few touch-up things. So homeowner had their painter paint everything, stain everything, and they're the ones, they picked out all the colors, so of course, that they wanted. So you see the beams, they did a stain, almost just a clear coat. I think they dyed it ever so slightly, but quite possibly it could have been just a clear coat, because that Douglas fir has a little bit of a reddish tint and everything, and when you do a clear coat even, it still darkens it up slightly. So got all that tongue and groove that we did. One thing I've noticed is that these painters didn't caulk anything along the edging like they're supposed to. So I've mentioned that to the homeowner. They didn't caulk nothing. They've got spots all on the ceiling. Mentioned to the homeowner, he said that he's going to try and have them fixed. Another thing I noticed is that these painters, if you look up here along this edge here, you'll see that they did not do their cutting very straight. That cutting goes like this. It does that everywhere. You especially see it along long walls, like above the fireplace here. You can see it wavy real bad. So also I had we did the mantle over the fireplace. The mantle, we put the mantle in, the painters stained it, but it is a nice big piece of walnut. It was one that he had sitting in his garage, and it was warped, bowed, was not straight. We ripped it down in 3 different directions to straighten as much as possible. If you look at it, there's still a slight curve on the end over here. This end right here curves down ever so slightly, but that's still, just adds a little character. It's not a big deal. It's what they wanted. You can actually kind of see it almost curves on both sides, but it's an old piece. I think it used to be on their original mantle inside, which was from the 1960s. So it is an old piece, and he wanted to reuse it here. And then, so the fireplace, the parts I don't like about it is I feel like they could have gotten better. See, this side over here isn't so bad. The joints in between the stone, they're fairly close. This side over here, you see it's like a darker, and it's because there's so much fill there. There's the stone should have been pieced better with less seams. However, the homeowner is, they feel like they could possibly, get by with that. It's not the worst thing in their opinion. They would prefer that it was not like that, but the part that they really don't like, and that I definitely do not like, move that out the way so you can see, is the fact that right here you can see they totally did not do this hearth correctly. So you've got, they were supposed to, I had told them to use the flat stone. They used the same stone here as they did here and on the sides. Now on the sides of the kick plate of the hearth, that would have been fine. I actually wanted them to use it there. But they were supposed to use a flat stone up here that matches this. They have them, they'll have the flat stone. Now there's multiple reasons for this. One is this stuff is very, bumpy. It's supposed to be, it's real stone. So it can be anywhere from 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches to 1 inch to 3/4. I mean, you see where it just, it goes up and down, of course. No, that's the way it's designed. But the flat stone that goes with it has been cut and smoothed. It's for an actual top, and that stuff is between 3/4 and 1 inch, usually 3/4 of an inch. So, and what that would have allowed is more room back here. See, I'm not even sure, because they did this, I don't know if the guy for the fireplace is going to be able to get his front on there, because this stone is flush. And here and there, like right here, it's actually above this point. It's above that. So I don't know if the guy can get his face on there for that fireplace, which is going to be an issue for him. But then on top of that, the other thing that I do not like is the fact that you're supposed to do the sides first and then the top. And the way it's looking, they did the top first and then they did the sides. The reason is because the kick plate, of course, you can see this. You can see the stone and you can see the grout, and then there, and then over here, there's just this heavy grout edge. So if they did the flat stone and they did the top first, the top should have an overlap that hides all that and comes out and has a little lip. Like at least 3/4 or 1 inch lip all the way around, and it hides all those little imperfections. Makes it look better. Another thing is, I don't think this guy has quite the artistic eye that I would have liked. So when I'm doing tile, or if I was trying to do this myself, and like this stone here and this stone, you're trying to fill this and make it look kind of natural. You're trying to make it look symmetrical somewhat, but not too much. Like this stone is way too close to this one and way too far away from these. I mean, this may have been okay. That one's not so bad. I probably would have turned it a little bit, but that's, whatever. Not a big deal. But this stone should have been like more like here, right around there. It would have been more symmetrical, looked a lot more even. Like I say, like up here as well. This stone should have been a little bit more down this direction. It just makes it more evenly spaced, makes it look better, maintains a much better look like what you have over here. Like this one here, it's pretty evenly, not completely, because you don't want it completely even, but it's pretty even comparatively to this, and this. All these rocks, that one in the middle is kind of centered of all that. Same thing with this one, it's pretty centered. So like I say, I almost feel like they started over here and we're maintaining pretty well, and then we're running out of stone, I guess. I don't know. That's the way it feels to me, is like they were running out of stone, or running out of stones that they felt fit good by the time they got over here and to the hearth. Which, again, if they had gotten the flat stone and used the flat stone on the top of the hearth, that wouldn't have been an issue, because they would have had all that stone to use there. So he's going to have to redo that. I don't like it at all. He's going to have to redo. We're going to be working on trying to put the kitchen back in again over here, the little kitchenette. I mean, it's not a full kitchen, but it is. We're going to put that back in, and we're going to start working on the doors. So I have a few parts that are still not here for the doors, but they are supposed to be in sometime tomorrow, actually. So I'm going to work on the ones that I can do. The main ones that I've got parts coming for is that the double door and that wider door right there where we have the there'll be a side light in it. So now I want to try to just get a shot kind of everything around here. If I can back the camera up a little bit so you can see better. There we go. So this is basically what it looks like. So in this hallway here, everything is sheetrocked, except for the trim is of course wood. And again, we got to add the double doors in right there, but otherwise it is completely finished. Another thing we're going to do now that the floor guy is done is you can see there's a gap like at the bottom there and over here, and in some places more, some places it's less, just depending roughly on leveling the boards across, make them look good. But we're going to put in quarter round, so we'll be doing that. But let's try to level this out a little bit and then try to get a nice sweeping motion. So we got that big door there, and then we'll just try and give you a shot of what this whole room is looking like. With the beams, we got a fan in. So they've started to bring in some of their furniture. So, and it's like from back here, you know, the fireplace doesn't look bad. But then again, right there, that's where we got the door needs to go in. And then our can lights in the ceilings. So that's basically essentially where this project is at right now. With how long this video has taken, it's taken a little bit longer. I didn't think it was going to take this long to show everything where it's at. Also, I didn't point it out, but we have the gutters on the outside. So because that cricket is so large, we went with a 6-inch instead of a 5-inch. So you may have noticed that the gutter sticks down pretty good, and that's because he wanted to use a 6-inch so he could take those downspouts. He didn't want any downspouts until he was outside the outside edge of the addition. So he didn't want nothing draining down into this corner where we put in that little drain, because that drain, it was a pre-existing one. It doesn't drain super fast. It drains fast enough for what water is being sent there. It keeps up just fine, but I don't think it would have kept up with an actual downspout from the roof. So because of that, we went ahead and we used a 6-inch gutter and took it around. So the back side of the house has 6-inch gutters. The front side of the house, which is all split up by a big gable along with a chimney. So visually, you can't see it. It looks pretty good. And that just allowed us to be able to divert the water where we wanted to take it. And it's rained pretty heavily a couple times since we did that, and it has worked fine. Try and get away from that camera, that light glare. But so it has worked just fine, and but with how long it took to go ahead and do all of that, I guess we will probably, this will just be an update video on where this project is at. And then we're going to try to record us doing the kitchen and building the actual doors. I got some door slabs from a surplus type store. I've gotten door jambs and all that, and we're just going to have to basically assemble the door ourselves, put in the sill plates and everything. And hopefully when the other parts get here tomorrow, we'll be able to finish it up, and then we can go ahead and we finish up the siding. Hopefully we'll be able to record most of all that. We got all cover plates on in here. We've got the can lights in. everything pretty much done. We just got a few little spots. You probably noticed there's a 3-gang box over there that needs a switch plate. There's one over there, which is a 2-gang box, but it only has one switch in it. The reason for that is because we had put in a switch for the fireplace, but then when they actually bought the fireplace, this fireplace doesn't need a switch. It works completely off of a remote. So with that case, I've got a blank to go in there. No big deal if they ever change out to a different fireplace or need that switch for something else. It's a spot that's there. They could always put an outlet in there even. Would work just fine. Also up inside the little cubby, we need to put in a 2-gang receptacle cover plate. It's typically called a quad cover because like what most people see as just a regular outlet, in the electrical field, it's called a duplex right here. So it's called a duplex because it has, in electrical terms, a single outlet only has one place to plug in. So that's considered a duplex, 2. So a quad is simply 2 duplex receptacles side by side. They count the actual spots that you can plug in. That's how it's done in the actual electrical field. Another thing that you probably obviously see is this box right behind me. That was actually put in 4, possibly even 5 years ago when we remodeled their master bedroom. Because this went to the outside. There was one here, one on the other side of the door, and he was gonna put in some kind of sconces there. They never did. And he's not sure. We might just put a blank on it. He was thinking possibly of putting some little light there still for if they come out the bedroom, or just some little fancy kind of lighting, whatever. I mean, we could put an outlet in there. It operates off a switch inside the bedroom. They could use it for plugging in Christmas lights. But at the same time, we have already, by their request, put in over here, if you may have noticed it before, we got an outlet here by this beam, and we got another outlet right here by this beam over here. That was because she was wanting to put in some kind of just rope lighting. Those ones are not on a switch though. They didn't want it. They already got a bunch of switches already, and he was saying that he would just put in like a little Alexa or some other Wi-Fi styled adapter where he could operate it from his phone. So, and they could always just hook it up with a timer. So that's where we're at with this project now. Hope y'all enjoyed watching. Just with the update on where we're at, and we'll see y'all the next time.